Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is now July 20th of 2022, and as we get closer to shows like Star Wars Andor, The Bad Batch Season 2, as well as let's not forget about Tales of the Jedi, before we get over to more live action material by 2023 with Ahsoka, Mando Season 3, as well as others that are also going to be releasing in that year as well. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the Disney Star Wars universe is that there's a lot of things happening around, the same exact time between both Favreau, Filoni, and Lucas on really trying to create a proper roadmap of Star Wars. And basically what the overall endgame really is to revive the highlights of Star Wars Legends, to really bring back a lot of fan favorite elements from, let's say, for example, the Thrawn trilogy, the new Jedi Order books, Shadows of the Empire, Dark Empire, and a whole lot more that's going to be implemented into shows like Ahsoka and the Mandalorian series as a whole. Now, moving forward from all of this, alright, one thing that a lot of fans have been very, very confused about is exactly what's been going on with the whole REVA situation. Now, one thing that we already know about is that the REVA merchandise, alright, the whole Hasbro situation with the lightsaber thing not getting backed, just proved to Hasbro and to Disney that this character really isn't all that well supported. And we talked about this before in the past, but focusing more so on what Chapek had to say about the character of REVA. Now, we already talked about this a couple of days ago, about how they completely disregarded the character from appearing in any future Star Wars projects non-Kathleen Kennedy related, and that is a big start by Disney right now. So, on top of this, with, of course, the Kenobi series, and when it was actually rolling out on Disney+, both Disney and Lucasfilm had a plan to expand it to a second season that originally involved the character of REVA. However, once the series finished and the reviews came in, when the true feedback reached Disney, when they decided to pull the character of REVA from future Star Wars shows and the continuation for the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show. Now, in a recent interview with Disney CEO Bob Chapek, he was questioned about REVA getting erased from the previous plans or from the Star Wars universe. Chapek went on to state the following: "This is something that we really can't go into full detail right now, but we did some testing with merchandise and we realized that this character was not as popular as we had aimed for. We have multiple conversations about this matter of what we are doing with this character that I can't fully disclose at this time, other than the fact that it is a sensitive subject and it is a very conflicted situation that we are in right now with this big character that we worked on with Joe B. Harold. It's always our best interest and it's always in our best intentions to give our characters the freedom to grow in this franchise, but for us, utilizing this character otherwise was a very difficult thing to handle." Now, apart from what Chapek stated here about REVA, by trying to dodge the question at the same exact time as well, REVA was supposed to be a part of Kenobi Season 2, and even in her very own Star Wars TV series that was going to focus on the origin of how she became an Inquisitor and ranked up to the third sister. Now, this was a show that was also erased from the Star Wars roadmap by Bob Chapek after realizing that there was no demand for REVA merchandise, and given that Disney really relies on merchandise heavily, this was a no-go. But it also wasn't that. Another conflict was that Moses Ingram was demanding a far higher income for a low-budget Star Wars series that was going to focus on her character that was aimed to be 7 episodes long, the same amount of time as the Book of Boba Fett. Now, before I get on to the next thing here that escalates everything further, alright? When you look at the character of REVA, when you look at how she was written in the actual series of Obi-Wan Kenobi, it was very much a sloppy writing style. I don't know what Joe B. Harold was aiming for, but this character really didn't make all that much sense for me. I mean, she was technically like this undercover Inquisitor, but was really a light side, once Padawan character, youngling, if you will, I should say. And it just doesn't make sense to me as to why she's going off, slicing off, civilians' hands and dismembering people here and there. I just don't understand it. I mean, I get she has to do what she has to do to stay undercover, but I don't know. There was something very disjointed about this character, something very off. And when you look at it, you know, in hindsight, when you look at the character, you know, looking back now, there really wasn't all that much to tell after. I really don't think that we ever even needed Disney to consider a REVA Star Wars series at all in the first place. It would have made absolutely no sense. It would have been flat out boring to me to just have a story about how REVA became an Inquisitor and ranked her way up to the Third Sister, which, by the way, the show was dubbed as just the Third Sister. And that really does kind of, you know, make you wonder, you know, what their agenda really was. You can see now as to why they kept this character alive, because that show was said to focus on how she became an Inquisitor and what her life was going to be like after the events of Kenobi Season 1. Joby Harold really twisted the material that Stuart Beatty aimed for in the Kenobi trilogy. He really wanted Reva to be killed off by Darth Vader. And if you guys watch the Kenobi series, Reva literally gets away from Darth Vader twice, alright? There's that moment where he's force choking her and, you know, expressing how she failed, and then she admits to Vader that she put a tracker on Kenobi's ship. And then you have another moment where she scurries out, where she gets stabbed and left for dead. For no reason at all. Darth Vader does not care that she knows that he is Anakin. It's just crazy to think. So, moving forward from that, the same amount of episodes as the Book of Boba Fett, of course, for the REVA series. Now, this in turn led to further conflicts between Disney executives and Lucasfilm creatives, as long, of course, with Moses Ingram, and the entire project was eventually shot down. Now, additionally, both Favreau and Filoni have now been chosen to expand the Kenobi series with a second season, thankfully. However, Moses Ingram is not set to return in anything but Skeleton Crew by Kathleen Kennedy in the form of a cameo, with her character erased from the second season of Kenobi and its plans as well, her show getting erased from the roadmap of Star Wars. It's looking very unlikely that fans will see this character again in a normal project run by Kathleen Kennedy, really. Now, Chapek is well aware that the fan feedback for the character was valid, given that Joby Harold broke many of the rules of the character's original story from the Kenobi trilogy script, where Reva was more grounded. So, the thing I also want to focus on here is that Reva is said to be coming back in the Skeleton Crew as an older version of herself. We talked about this also, that Kathleen Kennedy and how she has a lot of creative power over the Skeleton Crew series. In fact, she has full creative power. It is a post-Return of the Jedi story. It's not High Republic, as a lot of people are getting confused about, but Reva is said to appear in the form of a cameo in that actual Star Wars series, so just keep your eyes open for that. But anything non-Kathleen Kennedy related, Reva is no more, she's not coming back, and I think that it was time to actually move on from said plans that Disney executives had for a Reva series, that they had for Reva coming back in Kenobi Season 2, and everything related to that. So, obviously, now they want to focus more on, you know, grounded characters, well-developed characters, well-written characters. And that's what Favreau and Filoni are going for, and that's what they specialize in. Favreau and Filoni are, like, the guys. Joby Harold was not, because he himself is not really a Star Wars fan. He himself even said that he never really watched Revenge of the Sith in depth. So, overall, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.